Flash marks the latest DCEU film, so let's rank every single DCEU movie from worst to best. Hey everybody, my name's Justin here. I try to watch everything that hits theaters and on streaming services. If you guys are like me, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and click that bell notification for more up and coming content. And leave your list down below. How would you rank all 14 of the DCEU films, including the latest one, The Flash? Coming in last place is Justice League, directed by Joss Whedon. This is a poor attempt of bringing the characters together. The direction is unclear. The visuals are very poor. The characters do not have a chance to grow throughout this movie. The direction, everything about this movie is absolutely bottom of the list. And there are glimpses of a good film, and we've seen that with Zack Snyder's Justice League. But when Joss Whedon came on to take over this film, he ripped everything away that could have made this film work and made a very poor attempt of bringing in the most popular DC characters into a film together. The threat was not there. The direction, the comedy was really out of place. The movie just lacks a strong story and just rips everything away from this movie. This is abomination. This is one of the worst superhero films I have seen. Coming in at number 13 is Suicide Squad. This was the first Suicide Squad film, and it's just a little bit better than Justice League. Not that much. This film took some of the coolest characters in DC with Harley Quinn and Joker and Deadshot and just gave them the worst kind of stories ever. The villain too, played by Cara Delevingne, I don't even know what they were trying to accomplish with her. But the movie was so altered and edited in the wrong way because they wanted it to be more like Deadpool. And so when they came in and made all these cuts and different edits here and there, they have a film that is very out of place, from its pacing to the characters' development to some of the comedy that they try to throw in. This is a clear example of a studio having too much control of a movie. David Ayer has fought for his version, and I'm very curious to see what his version would look like to this movie. This is a clear example of a studio trying to do a little too much with this movie. And the result was not a very exciting film, a movie that has too many tones that clashed with each other. The comedy did not work, and poor development for some of the most iconic DC characters. Coming at number 12 is Batman v Superman. There's glimpses of greatness in here. I love Ben Affleck as Batman, and Henry Cavill once again knocks the role of Superman out of the park. But they took on a lot within this movie. I do not like Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. I really don't think they needed Gal Gadot in this movie. They really could have just focused on the relationship between Batman and Superman and just focus on that development, because there are a lot of moments that do work for this movie. Visually, it's stunning, and there are some really epic action scenes within here. But when you start to focus on more characters and a setup for the Justice League, you start to lose your own direction, your own focus. And when you have Gal Gadot and Lex Luthor, and then you have the little moments of Aquaman and the Flash and Cyborg, you can tell that the movie wants to focus on something else rather than completing the story between Batman and Superman. And that's where the development starts to fall apart, and you aren't as invested as the initial setup for this movie. And then you get closer to the end and you see more things kind of piling on top of it, and you just don't care much more about Batman and Superman's storyline because it's there. It could be very strong, but it starts to lose its focus and not as entertaining. Coming at number 11 is Wonder Woman 1984. This is a very odd film. It's very different from the first Wonder Woman film. I still like Gal Gadot. She's great within this movie. Having her find her place in 1984 was an interesting story, seeing her development, that kind of fish out of water and still kind of getting comfortable with the world that she lives in. The way that they brought back Chris Pine was a little off. The movie, very campy, and at times I feel like it's not embracing that campy style to it, and it just feels very weird. We have a couple of villains in here. Cheetah, I think, was interesting at times, but the movie itself just has a really weak story. At times, they try to go for these epic moments, and they fall absolutely flat. There's nothing really exciting about this movie. I still really like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. She is great as this character, but the story, the overall tone to it, everything's just very odd, and I really have not cared for this movie. I've seen it a few times, and every single time I watch it, I'm like, what are they trying to go for? What are they trying to accomplish with this movie? And I still to this day do not know what they wanted. Coming at number 10 is Birds of Prey, or simply the Harley Quinn movie, and this is a lot of fun. There are a lot of exciting moments in here, and it's really all over the place because it's from the mind of Harley Quinn. You're not going to have a coherent story. You're going to have things that are just kind of all over the place, visuals popping up here and there, stories that are just kind of intertwined with each other, and they're just kind of all over the place. If you look at it like that, I think you can have a different viewpoint to this movie, as it's very chaotic. But I like Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. She works in Suicide Squad. She works here in Birds of Prey. And the supporting cast, not as memorable as Harley Quinn, as we see a lot of her within this movie, but there are a lot of fun things. And Ewan McGregor as our villain, I absolutely love that. There are a lot of great things about Birds of Prey, but the story is quite simple, and I'm not as invested in this movie as other DCEU films, but I still find a lot to enjoy about Birds of Prey. Coming at number 9 is Black Adam. This was a movie that was very simple, and I ended up liking the Justice Society of America a lot more than Black Adam as a character. Black Adam, The Rock, was very serious, and it didn't allow for the comedy from his character to work, as we see a more stoic, very serious performance from The Rock within this movie, and then when they tried to implement the humor, it just really felt out of place. But I like all the other characters that were introduced, and I like that group that was explored. I wanted to see more of that, and when they fought against The Rock, there were some cool visuals, and that's just about it. The story is very simple. There's really no development for the character. He's just there fighting off against the Justice Society of America, and I mean, I can't even remember the villain or so much of the story either. So Black Adam is a very forgettable movie. It looks good, and there are some fun characters in there, but it's a movie that has no lasting impression. Coming at number 8 is Aquaman. Aquaman's very long, and at times I think there's a lot of unnecessary moments in here, but I do like exploring the world of Aquaman. Visually, it's a really good movie. There are some really big action scenes, and it really takes its time with extended action scenes. James Wan is a great director, and he's able to handle a lot of these action scenes really well. I think that they explored a little too much on unnecessary moments, especially with Mira, Amber Heard's character. Really weird jokes within this movie, but I like that focus on Aquaman and his brother and the worlds that he lives in, and that kind of struggle that he has. Where is his place in all of this? And that's a really deep story for Aquaman. And Jason Momoa is really fun as Aquaman. This presence that he has, he's very likable. He brings this sort of energy to the role. It's got this adventure feel to it towards the end of the movie, which makes a lot of the scenes exciting, but its length really brings this movie down at times with some of the things that they do focus on. I think they really could have just simplified some moments and really focused on some other moments, really honing in on them. So Aquaman, fun at times, but also really long. Coming at number 7 is Shazam 2. This was a lot of fun. I do think that the difference between Shazam and Billy Batson is really off. Where we have Billy Batson, he's more mature in this film, and he's more serious. He's afraid of exiting the foster system. And then when he quickly transitions into Shazam, we have Zachary Levi giving this really fun, outlandish performance, smiling and cracking jokes. And so that quick transition really does not work. I feel like it's really two separate characters, Billy Batson and then Shazam. But Shazam is Billy Batson. And so when you have that transition, it really is jarring. And I noticed that several times in this movie because of the maturity from Billy Batson. And it's like they're making Zachary Levi's character a little more immature, and it does not work in here. The villains are forgettable, but I do like Rachel Zegler in here. Her place in all of this and her struggle as well. She's a likable character and a great addition to the story. There are a lot of big action scenes. They do a lot of fun things with this movie. The family that they have, at times very separated, but you see when they work together, it's got that really strong bond and a lot of exciting moments for them. Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods, is not as good as that first film, but they do take what works with that first movie and adds it into the second film with our main character, Shazam, and the family as well. The visuals, it's a lot of fun. There's some odd moments in here, but overall, it's a really fun movie. Coming at number 6 is Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot is so good as Wonder Woman. I've loved every little appearance that she has in the movies in the DCEU, but her first film is really able to establish the character, her struggles, her development, and her motivation as well. When she is at her home, I love that slowed down pace to really establish her home and her position in the DCEU. When we bring her to our world, that is where we have those fish out of water sequences. Adds for some comedy as well, but she's still a very strong character, and seeing how she reacts to everything and her judgment around the world and how she's trying to fight off against our villains within the movie. It's a character that has a lot of growth, and there are some really epic action scenes. No Man's Land is one of the best scenes in the DCEU, but I love the story of Wonder Woman and how it's focused on the character and what she stands for, and she fights up against that. And she fights for it, and that personal development for this character and the story as well has always made Wonder Woman a really epic movie and a strong movie as well, with a really good performance from Gal Gadot. Coming at number 5 is Shazam. The first Shazam has a lot of heart to it. I love Asher Angel as Billy Batson and Zachary Levi as Shazam. We have a lot of fun moments and some heartbreaking scenes as well. This movie is able to balance its tones very well while having a lot of fun, exciting moments with the family and some really sinister villains in here as well. But this movie feels very campy at times. It embraces it, but also has those emotional moments when he is looking for his mother and he's trying to fit into the foster system and connect with the family that he's living with. And so those are very personal moments to this character, and we have a lot of development for him as well. When he is Shazam, he's feel like he's someone completely different, and he's hiding his emotions when he is Shazam. And so it works, and you have that fun balance of both Billy Batson and Shazam as well. Fun movie. Zachary Levi is awesome as Shazam, and there's some really fun visuals, and the connection to the DCEU works with this movie, and you feel like it's just a character that's admiring the bigger characters like Superman and is so giddy about being a hero. Coming at number 4 is The Flash. Ezra Miller is so good as The Flash, and I hope that they bring this character back in future films. Michael Keaton returning as Batman was so awesome to see, and Supergirl, even though her appearance was very brief, I really liked her in here, bridging the past, present, and future for this movie. They did it in a very meaningful way. A lot of cameos, but they did it in a way that didn't feel very gimmicky. There are some bad visuals in this movie, but overall the story is very personal for Barry Allen, and looking at loss and what one will do to alter the past to get their loved ones back. And that adds for some deeper moments, a deeper connection to our character. When we have two different Barry Allens, we have one that's without his mother and one with his mother. So there's that jealousy and some anger as well. The end action scenes are a lot of fun against General Zod. The cameos are exciting as well. And I'm curious to see what they can do with the future, because there are a lot of shocking moments to the Flash, even if it doesn't have the best visuals, and at times you just absolutely check out from what you're watching because it's so bad. The beginning of the movie started off very rough, but once you got into the deeper story of Barry Allen, that is where it's worked. That's where it worked and bridged the connection between the past movies with Tim Burton's Batman and Danny Elfman's score, and looking at the Zack Snyder movies and Man of Steel, and just having all of those references really worked for this movie. Coming in third place is Man of Steel. This is an epic movie that every time I watch it, I really do appreciate it. The slow approach to building this character, looking at the flashbacks to when he was younger and learning of his abilities, and the score as well really elevates these action scenes. Henry Cavill is so good as Superman, one of the best versions of Clark Kent. I also like his relationship with his Earth father, and looking at Krypton in the beginning, visually stunning from Zack Snyder with his own style to it. Coming in second place is Zack Snyder's Justice League. This is a chance to see what exactly Zack Snyder wanted to do with Justice League, and the longer approach was able to bring out the characters in the most exciting way, have developments for them. You felt the urgency for our villains. Even there was a lot of setup for future movies that probably we'll never get, but the urgency is there. It's suspenseful throughout. We have a chance to like these characters and see them work as a group. Several storylines for our characters adds the development and the personality to them as well. With Zack Snyder's movie, we have a chance to have a longer approach to it and really good action and a really gripping story as well, where you feel that urgency. It's very suspenseful. You feel that tension throughout, and the group is up against something very strong, and with a lot of references to other movies as well. We have a clear vision of what Zack Snyder wanted to do, and it's really good. His style is very different from other filmmakers, and his approach to this movie, you felt the love and dedication as well. But coming in first place is the Suicide Squad. James Gunn's Suicide Squad took a group of broken characters and gave them really fun storylines that you were able to connect with. Peacemaker, John Cena, absolutely loved that. Still haven't checked out the full season of Peacemaker, but the characters, you hate them, but you love them as well. It's violent, it's funny, it's got James Gunn's style to it, and I absolutely love this movie. So many cool actors and actresses within it, and they all just kind of work together, and there's some heart to it as well. Just got like your misfit group of characters, very similar to Guardians of the Galaxy. A bunch of characters that you just didn't really know about, and they're misfits, but they all work together, and you build the relationships throughout the movie while having a lot of comedy, action, blood, and fun characters throughout. So there you guys have it, all 14 DCEU movies ranked worst to best. How would you rank them? Let me know in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for more up and coming ranking videos like this. My name is Justin Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.